just from what you know. Yes.
The main idea of like what your topic is about.
Excellent. The main idea of your topic. Anything else? Summary of how you set up things, how you set up your research, how you went about researching, good. What else? The results.
The results.
Yes, excellent. The results. At this point, let me ask folks here, how many of you have already completed your research? Good. Most people have not. That's okay. You're probably going to be submitting the abstract perhaps before you get your results. So we're going to show you an example of how to do that. So let's talk a little bit about what an abstract is. This thing is being super stubborn. Yeah, that is. An abstract summarizes the major aspects of the entire paper or creative work. Describe sequence that includes first, the purpose. The overall purpose of your study. Why did you do it? So you want to start with that. Then you want to outline what you did. The basic design of the study, argument, or creative work. After that, we want to provide your results, the major findings or trends found as a result of the research analysis or discussion of the final product or creative work. And finally, you want to give some concluding thoughts. You want to provide some concluding thoughts. How does this research help fill a gap in a conversation about the topic? Have you recreated the study? Have you contradicted the study? Are you adding to the conversation? And what implications does that have for the future? So these are all usually the elements that you find in an abstract. Let me ask you this. For the purposes of February 21st, when you have to submit this abstract, what's your goal? Is to run your idea by the committee. You want to be accepted. That is your goal. You want to have the opportunity to participate in the symposium. Beyond that, people will see your abstract. This isn't just going to the undergraduate research symposium committee. It's going to be displayed for all to see. If you're doing a poster session, it's going to be right at the top of your poster. It's going to be the first thing that people see as they walk by. If you're doing an oral presentation or another form of another presentation form, we have a program that has all of your abstracts in it. And participants, people who are there, visitors, faculty members across campus, across disciplines, will look through those to see which presentations they might want to see. You want them to see yours, don't you? So you're going to want to make sure that is another goal that you're going to have, is to keep that in mind, because you have different audiences here. I'm going to be your 1101 teacher and remind you, when you're writing this, think about your purpose, think about your audience. Your first audience is the committee. You want them to accept your proposal. Next, you want for people to be attracted to your work so that you can talk about it more with them. If I'm at a poster session, I'm walking along, I'm not going to be right up against each poster walking. I'm probably going to be standing about 6 feet away, seeing which one's interesting. Yeah, it might be pretty, it might have nice colors, might have a good picture that I'm interested in. But that abstract is what I'm going to be eyeing as I'm going through. It's going to give me the overall I'm interested. You've got. That's what you want. Now, there's another group of there's another audience that you are writing this for as well. That's the judges. People who are judging your work. You can win some money if you come in first, second, third in this symposium, so in a category. So you want to impress the judges as well. And every rubric, doesn't every rubric just about have a section on abstract? You get points for your abstract. So keep this in mind. I know it seems like a lot of pressure I'm putting on you, but really just keep in mind that this is important. Because it will be the first impression people have of you. Any questions? Okay, so with that said, which of the following is not an essential element of an abstract? The purpose, review of literature, methodology, or the results?
Review of literature. Yeah.
Excellent. Yep, review of literature. The abstract max is 150 words for the competition, so for the symposium. You cannot submit more than 150 words. So you will not have time to talk about all the studies that you looked at and did research on to get yourself to this point. That could go in your paper. It might be in the body of your poster, but it's not going to be in your. Good. Here, let me get over. Sure.
Do you have any intel of the winners of last year's symposium? Are we allowed to look at their projects? Because I went on the website and I have previous abstracts and everything,
Right.
but I don't see who actually won.
We can get that for you. I'll talk to the chair of the committee and see if we can get that information. for us. No, you're welcome.
Yes, sir.
The slide will the different categories that we judged in.
Oh, the types of categories that we have, that was in the information section. However, you can get that information on the web.
Yeah, and I can show you, when we go to the web, to the form, I can show you that.
Yes. So now what we're gonna talk about is what a good abstract should have. Now, like Mr. Shaver said, the abstract is the first thing that the committee and your audience is going to be looking at. So what you wanna do is, and the abstract should allow you to elaborate upon each aspect of the study. Remember, you must have the focus. You must have the methodology. How did you go about your project? And you must have your results, even if it's continuing results. Some students haven't completed their research yet. It's still ongoing. That's fine. You can put anticipated results in your abstract. Remember, like we said, the conclusions is not necessary, especially if the abstract is ongoing. You want to help the reader decide whether they want to learn more about your investigation or creation. Like Mr. Shaver said, the abstract is the first thing they're going to be looking at. So you want to catch the audience's attention with enough information to see that they want to look more into your study, investigate your study. And you want to include enough key information to make the abstract useful to someone in the field who may want to examine your work. So your work might go on to be discussed in continuing projects for others. So you want to include in your abstract enough of that information to capture the audience's attention. So finally, you want to ask yourself, if my abstract were the only part of my work I could access, would I be happy with the amount of information presented there? So remember, you want to make sure you have those components that you need. Make sure you have your focus, hypothesis, main idea. Make sure that you have your methodology. Make sure you have your intended results for your results. And if you finished with your study, make sure that you do have your conclusions. A good abstract should also use active voice when possible. So when you're talking about active voice, we want to make sure that you have your subject, verb, and your object. We don't want it to be the object, the verb, and then the subject. You want to make sure you're the subject, you're the researcher, you're doing the action. The researcher's survey, where you're just saying, if you're the researcher, I survey. You don't wanna put that to be verb here, where you say the individuals that I surveyed. Word, you don't want that. You want the subject, verb, and then the object. So make sure your voice is active when possible when you're creating your abstract. You wanna use concise and complete sentences. This is important because if you have too many grammatical errors or errors in general in your abstract, the committee will send it back to you to make those revisions. So make sure that you proofread and edit your abstract when possible. Make sure you use concise language. Make sure it's not word heavy. Make sure it's not ambiguous. If it's ambiguous enough, no, some students like to use they a lot. Make sure you're very specific as possible in your abstract. And you want to get to the point quickly. Like Mr. Shaver said, you only have 150 words to get this done here. It's the minimum. You can have less than 150. However, the website won't let you go further if you have more than 150. It'll flag you, it'll stop. Yes,
Do you have to sign in somewhere?
yes.
Okay. I can go over there.
That's okay.
There you go. Any questions about the information I just presented about the abstract and what should be in the abstract? Okay, so now we're gonna move on to what it should not have.
Yeah. So things that you don't want to do are these. Of course, don't provide lengthy background information of how you got to this point. Honestly, committee doesn't care. The viewers don't care, not in the abstract. In the abstract, you're just presenting the meat of what you've done. You're not giving extra color here. Provide references to other literature. We talked about that. Do not refer to other literature. Instead, say things like current research shows that, and then give me the trend. Studies have indicated, give me the trend. And that instead of saying, Allen, 2022, stated that students are less stressed when they have music classes. However, Shaver, 2023, said, don't do any of that. Don't give me specific studies. Instead, just stay general. Also, you definitely don't want any grammar errors. As Ms. Allen said, proofread, proofread, proofread. Proofread carefully, because the committee, if they're bad, the committee will send you back your abstract to redo. If you have one that perhaps they overlook, it's gonna get published. And the whole world will see that with your name attached. So you don't want that. So, and we can help with that here in the Learning Commons. If you just wanna bring your abstract in here, we can give it a quick look, give you some advice. Please keep us in mind. Also, you do not want to use field-specific abbreviations, jargon, or terms that might be confusing to the reader. Remember that your audience it comes from across disciplines. So in your specific field, everyone in your field might understand exactly what you're saying, but someone from a very different field might not. So be careful. Think about your audience again as you're writing and try to avoid jargon or terms that might confuse someone from another discipline. And finally, do not refer to any sort of image, illustration, table, or reference to it. If you have a plan to put an image in your PowerPoint, you're giving an oral presentation, or a chart on your poster, you don't want to refer to it in your abstract, because guess what? The person reading the abstract cannot see your poster or your PowerPoint. So it's going to be confusing. So don't point to images, illustrations, tables, or reference them at all in your abstract. Any questions about the do's and don'ts?
Yes.
So I came a little late, but so the abstract is like your summary of what you're doing.
Yes, it is. Yes, you should have your focus, your methodology, and your results in your abstract. Yes,
I have a question.
yes.
Would y'all say with 150 being the limit, would that be like a bit of a longer abstract? Like, would y'all say not to go to the threshold of 150, or does it just depend on the abstract?
Yes, normally with the longer abstracts,
Mhm.
the students have their conclusions in there. They completed the study.
Okay,
Normally, if you're still conducting your study and you're in the process, you might stop at your results.
gotcha. All right, thank you.
Most, if you look at studies, most go up to 300 words,
Mhm.
but for the purposes of this event, 150 is the max. That's a good question.
Now I have a question for you. We just talked about what a good abstract should do. So from the possible answers here, what should a good abstract do? Out of A, B, C, and D.
B.
B, I heard B, good. What else should it do?
D.
D, very good. You should include enough key information to make the abstract useful to someone who may want to examine your work. And it should allow you to elaborate upon each major aspect of the paper. Very good, yes. So now here, we just talked about abstracts and how to create them. Now we have an example of an abstract. This is an abstract that was submitted last year to the symposium. And remember, we were talking about some abstracts can be ongoing, some focuses can be ongoing. This study is still ongoing, so they stopped at anticipated results. So for this focus, is what we've done is color coded the sections that you need to have in your abstract. So the white is your focus, the yellow is your methodology, and the purple is their anticipated results. So for their focus in this abstract, the students said the field of STEM is a place where creativity and prosperity come to meet. This study investigates, remember that active voice, diversity in STEM in association with race and disability. This is important because STEM impacts the life of everyone, and it's beneficial to have people from different backgrounds to collaborate within building new projects within sciences and mathematics. That's their focus. Then they go into their methodology, how they did conduct the study. This project surveyed people of color and those with disabilities, asking if they felt welcomed and accepted in the STEM field. The survey consisted of 3 questions, and the goal was to get at least 50 people to participate in the study. Each question was multiple choice, and we encouraged the participants to elaborate on their answers. And finally, we have the results, but it's the anticipated results, because this goal is still going on. Our anticipated results are the participants giving nuanced answers to the questions and explaining how the STEM field could be more inclusive. This abstract stopped at 135 words. That's fine. They didn't have conclusions because it's still ongoing, but they have the parts that they need. They have the focus, the methodology, and they have their results that's ongoing. Okay?
Okay, so is anyone here submitting a work of art? Good, good. Sculpture, painting, photography,
I spoke with the wonderful individual that was here the other day. I'm not sure if this is applicable, but I wanted to do a short film.
oh, that's great,
Yes.
that's great. Then this might be a good model for you to look at. We're gonna see this further and how you set up your abstract. So for visual arts, you have the purpose first stated. The purpose of this sculpture is to embody the fragility of the Florida ecosystem while raising awareness about the state's environment. Now we're gonna go into the methodology. For a work of art, the methodology is how you went about creating that work of art. So we have, I collected objects from nature such as leaves, blossoms, and twigs and dried them. I assembled these items into the shape of a manatee and used twine to hold them together. I then coated the sculpture with epoxy that I tinted with blue and green dye to mimic the color of the water. I left certain areas of the sculpture unfinished to provide texture to the sculpture's surface. To just describe the whole process of putting that work of art together. Now, the results. This is somewhat anticipated because you cannot be in the mind of the viewer at this time. This is what they're hoping the result will be. The viewer will see the natural elements encased in a semi-transparent coating, which will bring awareness of Florida's environment. At the same time, the contrast between the smooth epoxy finish and the rough unfinished patches will remind the viewer of the fragility of Florida's ecosystem. Now, this person did put a concluding thought here on how this research, this work of art contributes to the larger conversation. This sculpture contributes to the body of eco-friendly art with a mission of raising environmental awareness. So that is the model for a visual arts abstract. A little bit different than the other disciplines because it's a bit more creative in its, in its focus.
And this abstract is exactly 150.
This is exactly one. So the other one was what, about 135, something like that, yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna talk a little bit about, once you've written your abstract, how you submit it. So you're gonna go to the Undergraduate Research Symposium site, click on the Submit Abstract button and fill out and submit the submission form. It sounds simple. And you think it is, but it can be a little tricky. So what I'm gonna do is try to take you through that process. When you go to TCC's homepage, if you type in undergraduate research in the search box, it will take you, the first link is always the symposium's link. So go to that link or click on that link and then go to this site. Scroll down a bit to how to participate. Click on how to participate. And before we go into the prepare and submit your abstract, I'm going to quickly show you how to find the guidelines, the rubric we're talking about. Let's say that you're doing a poster and you want to know what the judges are going to score you on. Click on the poster presentation rubric and it comes up for you. This is the highest score in each category that you can get. Off to the side, you'll see that they'll be looking at poster heading, your abstract, research questions, introduction, background, your method, results and findings, conclusion and or discussion, reference, your references. You must have references too, keep that in mind. And image and overall design. Your references should be cited in the format of the discipline. For example, if you've done a science experiment, probably going to use APA. If you're doing a paper from English, you're doing a project, let's say, researching some aspect of literature, probably going to use MLA. So keep that in mind. So you can find all of those. Could you help me get it back? I'm short, I can't reach it, thanks. All right, you close it. There we go. You can find all of those on there for each category. So what you want for submitting your abstract is prepare and submit your abstract. And this is just a reminder for you, hey, we, the committee, wants you to have these things in your abstract. Your title is limited to 15 words. Your abstract content is limited, as we said, to 150. Tells you what you should have in the introduction body. We pretty much talked about all this, so you know. And there's even a sample abstract. This abstract was from the 2019 symposium. It's kind of old. We need to make sure it's updated. We'll talk to the chair of the committee about updating that perhaps. But so you can take a look at that as well. Scroll past the video to submit your abstract. Click on the date and maybe something will happen. It will happen if you do. Oh, wait, it takes forever for it to load. I forgot. Okay, so now you're at the form, and that's what we're gonna talk about first, the elements that are needed
Okay, so
to
yes.
submit.
So now, when you come to the form, these are the sections that you must fill out. Make sure you pay attention to all of your red asterisks. That information needs to be filled out. It's gonna flag you. It'll tell you you're missing something if you miss one of the asterisks. So be sure to put in, you are the primary presenter. Some people do present with others, but if you're the primary presenter, you put your name up here. You can put your preferred pronouns if you like, but remember, it's not required. Put in your student TCC ID. If you don't know where that is, you can find that on Workday. Put in your student TCC email that you can be reached, the entire email, the @mymail.tcc.fl.edu. Be sure you put in a phone number where you can be reached, not a relative or someone else or a friend, but where the committee can reach you. So put in that primary phone number. Be sure to fill in all of the required elements under the address. Put in your street address, also put in the state and the city and the zip code and the country. If you miss any of those portions, it's gonna flag you and tell you to put that information in. And then at the bottom, this is where if you are presenting with someone else, you can put in the secondary presenter and put in their information as well, so that the committee can reach out to either one of you if need be. But again, remember to put in information where the committee can reach you and fill out the all asterisk areas.
Okay, so let's talk about faculty sponsors. Does everybody have a faculty sponsor? Yes.
Yes.
No.
So, if you don't have a faculty sponsor, get one as soon as possible. That sponsor can be someone in your, in your discipline. It could be the director. What area are you studying?
Engineering.
So you could talk to Dr. Gordon, who's over the STEM Center. She can be your, faculty sponsor. So Director of Honors can be your sponsor. Any administrator or faculty member on this campus can be your sponsor. Can be someone from FSU, FAMU, anywhere. It has to be from TCC. Keep that in mind. This page asks for your sponsor's information because your sponsor will be contacted throughout the process and be kept in the loop. So the name will go here. The division that they teach in will go there. If they teach in, if it's a history instructor, it would be history and social sciences. Drop-down menu. There are 7 divisions at TCC. You have to pick one. If you don't know which division your instructor is in, just ask. I'm happy to let you know. Yes.
Can your instructor have more than one, like, person they're sponsoring?
Yes.
Okay,
Dr. Gordon has several.
okay.
Yeah. It's a good question. Faculty sponsor email, provide that. And then you can go, the reason that they want this is you will be rejected if you do not have a faculty sponsor. You can't even go past this point if you don't have one. So make sure you get one. And check with that person, make sure you ask, just don't put someone's name in there before you go.
Okay, so the next portion of the form is where you're gonna fill out your abstract information. Remember, you're gonna put in your presentation type, and we went over a few of those. You have a poster, visual arts, you can have a 3-minute video or so forth. That's what you're gonna choose here in this drop-down menu. It's gonna give you the categories, so you put in the category that you're choosing from. And then if you do visual arts or performing, it's gonna give you another drop-down menu underneath that one. So under visual arts, you can choose drawing, painting, printmaking, photography, jewelry, mixed media, or film. So if you choose visual arts, it's gonna give you the other drop-down menu and you choose. If you choose performing arts, you can choose music, dance, theater, or creative writing. So those are only 2 that's gonna give you another drop-down menu. And then all of them is gonna ask you for the presentation topic area. And that's your subject area that you're in. So with your subject area, you can choose social science, business, communications, humanities, healthcare, science and math, or other. So you can talk to your faculty sponsor about your presentation area, especially if you're in that area, yes.
What if you change your mind with the presentation type? You change it?
Yeah, you can. It depends on where you are in the process. You may want to talk to your sponsor about if you can get everything in on time, if you decide to change your presentation. Yes. And then you're gonna have your presentation title. I believe it was 15 words, a 15-word title. It's long, but this is the first thing that your audience is gonna see, so you wanna make sure it's engaging and present to the audience. So you wanna put in your presentation title here, make sure you read that carefully and make sure it doesn't have grammatical errors, because that's the first thing they're gonna see. And then you're gonna put in your abstract. Remember, it only goes up to 150 words. It will not let you go any further. If you try to put in more, it's going to flag you. But again, like we've stressed throughout the workshop, be sure to edit and revise your abstract to make sure that there are no grammatical errors, mechanical errors, so forth, and it's concise, and you have complete sentences. And then you're gonna move on to the next part of the form.
So just make sure, you want this to be the last time you deal with your abstract. So make sure that it reads well, it's grammatically sound, and you'll be fine. Also, when you send off your abstract, just proceed with your research as though you've been accepted. Do not sit around and wait for them to let you know. Just proceed. Most likely you will be, unless there is a problem that they have with the study, but that doesn't mean you can't participate. They would probably work with you and your faculty sponsor regarding perhaps tweaking what you're doing. But, and if you change your topic after you submitted this or your project, contact the Undergraduate Research Symposium Committee at the email address on the website as soon as possible to let them know. Do not wait until 2 days before the presentation or something like that, because posters will be printed, PowerPoints will be set, everything will be ready to go. Don't do that. So make sure you contact them immediately if something changes with your presentation's format or your topic. Once you get information, once you get to this page, you just need to say whether you want to have extra equipment. If you're doing a poster session, the posters are lined up, one right after the other, and you're gonna be standing next to your poster, and people will come up and you'll be talking to them about your research. But you will be very close to everyone else. If you need room to put handouts, flyers, anything like that, you can request a table. So if you do want a table for things like that, you can check, I need a table for this presentation, and we'll make sure that you have one. Special needs request, if you have any special needs, please let us know so that we can accommodate. Once you get those in, hit submit, and it goes. So that's it. It's done.
And these are some of the resources that we use to create the workshop. So this website, you can definitely go to this website because they have good information about the undergraduate research symposiums that they create as well. And if you need to reach out to us, we are here to help as well. We are here in the Learning Commons, Monday through Thursday, 7:30 to 7:30, Friday, 7:30 to 5. And we can help you with any aspect of your process or your project. If we can't find the answer, we will definitely get the answer for you. Any questions about any part of the process, about the project, about your mentors or your sponsors, or so forth. And as for those online as well, if you have any questions, please put it in the chat for us. If you did come in late, then be sure that you sign the roster form we have in person and online. If you could, if you came in later, please put your name and email address in the chat.
Now, if you're doing a poster, the next workshop is on February 28th And that will be tips and tricks on creating a scientific poster. And those who've come to the workshop, as I said during the information session, have placed first, second, or third. And the category, in the past, we've always had somebody who's been in those top three, who's attended that workshop. So keep that in mind if you're doing a poster.
Thank you for joining us.
It's been a
Thank you
pleasure.
so much.
Thank you for your
Have a
time.
great
I
day.
appreciate it.
And we'll send you all this.
You're already in there. You're already in there.